Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Dolman Way podcast, focusing on all things Bristol City. My name's Paul Binning, aka the Exiled Robin, as you may well know me from social media. For those that don't, welcome. And I'd also like to introduce Luke. Luke, how are you?
Yeah, all good. Thanks, Paul. You?
Yeah, good, thank you. And where can people find you on social media?
Yeah, Twitter, LukeyG2505. And basically, I'll comment on anything Bristol City.
Nice, sounds good. We're here this evening basically just previewing the Bournemouth game. I don't know about you, it feels like a really long time since we last played. It was a couple of weeks ago with the international break. We've had some fantastic weather, which means people have been out and about a little bit more, I think, doing different things. A couple of internationals, obviously, for England, not competitive ones, so maybe they passed us by a little bit in some instances. What have you been doing with yourself, Luke?
Yeah, it's one of them, innit? The international break's always it's a killer for most football fans, isn't it? So, yeah, not a great deal, working a lot. So, just trying to tie up loose ends when there's no football on. I hate it. I'm not a big fan of the international friendlies at all. Nice to see some of the youngsters for England getting a run out in that, and it's nice to always see the relations with Bristol City. So, seeing Dolman obviously popping up in the week, getting his call up, even to some of the players that we've let go. So, like Jojo Woolacott, that was a big story actually, and him getting through to the World Cup. But yeah, besides from that, I'm not a big fan of the international break. So basically, counting down the days till this Saturday.
Ready to be all depressed again for a last-minute equaliser or loss.
I don't know. Most probably.
It's an interesting one, isn't it? Because there could be sort of 5, 6, 7 players actually with some sort of Bristol City link at the World Cup. Actually, with him.
Oh yeah, I know.
Jeju obviously got through.
Yeah, it's good credit to our club. To be fair, I'm so gutted we let him go. To be honest, and I am wondering if we do have any sort of buyback clause on him, because I've got a couple of friends who are Swindon fans and they think he's one of the best keepers they've had in a long time. So, I mean, if we do, that's going to be brilliant. But
yeah, we did a lot of loan moves.
Not, it feels like we've let some sort of world class keeper go.
Yeah, goalkeeper, an area of focus this season as well, of course. But last time out, we won't review the West Brom game in any detail, but the curse or the failing, whichever way you want to look at it, of a last-minute goal hit us again for what feels about the 74th time this season. Certainly came out to haunt us, and West Brom probably took an undeserved point in summary.
Yeah, I think so. At the time, I was a little bit annoyed we hadn't held on for the 3 points, and I don't know. I think I had a kind of a little bit of a biased view that day. But I think looking back on reflection, a point either side was fine, really, in the end. To be fair, I've got a few West Brom mates as well, and they sort of said they weren't good. They didn't feel like they haven't had a good season at all up to this point. And even so, on Saturday, they said exactly that sums our season up. We're not turning up to matches. And it probably, for us, we played well, I thought, for large spells. And then we sort of sat back and allowed them to get into it, which is the story of our season, allowing the other team to get into it and really come at us. So, yeah, draw's fine in the end. Take a point against the team who should really be up there with that sort of squad.
Yeah, certainly got, in theory, extra quality and certainly extra budget to us. So, yeah, I think it's a weird one as you take a point, but probably naturally disappointed again come the end of the game. But
yes.
Looking forward to the weekend, and it's actually a first return to Boscombe for fans. For fans, of course, we played there during lockdown, but fans for the first time since September 2006, which is an awful long time ago. A Phil Jevons goal on that day gave us victory in a 1-0 win, and that was our promotion season under Gary Johnson, so an early away win for us that year. So good memories, I think, for a lot of fans from down at Bournemouth over the years, and I think that's shown up itself in the very, very rapid sellout of tickets, hasn't it?
Yeah, God, yeah. I've seen today so many people asking and it's gone a wildfire. Obviously, and a big crowd you can get there, but it's a great away day. So I just hope the players put in a performance. We don't even need to go and win. We're not saying we need to go win 2-3-4-0 or anything like that. But as long as they put the effort in and give the crowd something to cheer about, that's all you want on that day.
Yeah, a nice time of year to be going down to Bournemouth as well. Snow today, setting the scene nicely for a seaside trip. But obviously there's a lot changed obviously since 2006. We obviously went up and had a few years where we were challenging near the top of this league. Bournemouth have obviously since gone past us, fueled by some Russian investment obviously over the last decade, and spent 5 years in the Premier League, and they're looking like they're well set for a return this year under Scott Parker. So a tough assignment for Saturday, certainly for a sometimes flaky and inconsistent Bristol City team. What are your thoughts on Saturday, Luke? Have we got a chance of a point? Have we got a chance of anything more?
Yeah, I do. To be fair, and on first glance, if you got the neutral fan who looks at us and looks at them, you're going to go, can you possibly think in that scenario? But what I will say for us, they got a fantastic squad. They got the sort of Galacticos of our championship, in the sense that they've just plucked the players they want with the parachute payments, and they've really gone and bought well. But I'm a stickler for seeing them, and sometimes they get some inconsistent results. And sometimes when you think they're going to go and blow a team away, I think it was Preston a few weeks back. They went down there and won in Peterborough. I can't remember. It's either Peterborough or Preston. They went down there and won, and that's teams you'd think they'd be blown away at home with that sort of squad. So I do think if you've got a squad who are sort of serious effort and want to sit with that ball and really go at them, I do think there's a chance for something. Now, that being said, that home game we had, I went and watched against Bournemouth. I thought they were the best team that I've been to. I haven't been to every game, I'm not saying that, but they were the best team I've seen at Ashton Gate. They literally made the crowd quiet. They made our players quiet. They shut us up. They dominated us. They could have won by more.
We didn't compete that day, did we? We didn't lay a glove on them.
No, not at all. I couldn't remember many glimmers of hope at all. Like in front of goal, 2-0, and that was doing well for us to say it was 2-0.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it could have been a lot worse. And when you look, you pointed out before we started here, but look at their bench against Huddersfield in the last game, which they beat Huddersfield, team flying high, 3-0 away from home. On their bench, Freddie Woodman, Gary Cahill, Jack Stacey, who I thought was superb that day, Todd Cantwell, who's got promoted with Norwich and one of their stars, Ben Pearson, Dembele, Jamal Lowe. I mean, that's one hell of a bench, let alone what's on the pitch.
I'd love that in my starting 11.
Most teams would, wouldn't they? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and they would. Most of them would probably get into our starting 11. So that's what you're up against, unfortunately. And if you're an honest fan of those sort of sides, your Fulhams, your Bournemouths, and that's what parachute payments can do. And big investment, obviously, but seriously on the parachute payments, that's what they do. So we're already up against it. We're like many of the other teams in the Championship who have stayed in there for a few years now, don't have any prize money. We just got our league position. So we're going with what our investment is. And obviously with COVID and all that sort of stuff, obviously we've been hit as of late. So we are up against it. Now, at the same time, we should have enough experience in the manager and some of the players we've got to actually go and put a statement against them and really put in a good effort against them. We don't just need to fall over and just let them win. Not at all. We want to show them what we can actually do. And we need to start thinking about next season now and really pushing on and getting a feel-good atmosphere. Yeah.
No, it's really important. We don't want to drift away like we have done a couple of times in recent times.
Yeah.
We obviously know on our day we can be good. We've seen that this season. We've seen the spark and the electricity that we can get through our team when we're really on fire. One player who's been key to that this season, though, is Antoine Semenyo, who looks like he'll be missing tomorrow. But obviously, Niki Wells showed, maybe he's going to get a little run in the team at the end of the season, and whether that's going to be enough to persuade us to want to keep him, or is his wage going to be too big? We just want to shift him on. At least it's maybe putting him in the shop window and proving he can do a job at this level.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm one of the fans who's sort of sad that it's not really worked out as well as we all hoped it was for Niki Wells. I know there's some fans who sort of are a little bit like, he hasn't scored much, so we don't really want him anymore. But I think there's still something there. I can imagine him going to a decent top half championship club and going banging in 15, 20 goals, which is not exactly like talking about Jojo Woolacott before. I don't want to see that. I want him doing that for us. He's just been very unfortunate that the front three this season have a really, really good season. I mean, Chris Martin's probably your one you'd be looking at he could replace, but at the same time, he's not going to do the exact same job. So why would you have three runners in the team? You need that focal point of Chris Martin, unfortunately, for Niki Wells. Semenyo's had an awesome breakthrough season, just needs to have more goals. And Vyman goes without saying, I mean, what an immense season he's had. So I want to keep him, but at the minute, that's almost saying he's fourth choice. And for a player of his caliber, he doesn't want to be that. Now, what impressed me was what Pearson said in the week. I think a lot of us sort of assumed, especially there was a few times at the start of the season, he wasn't even getting in the squad. He wasn't getting the starting 11. And everyone sort of assumed he was one of the sort of bad apples that everyone was alluding to. And actually what Pearson said in the week in his press conferences, no, not at all. He's been one of the most positive players all season. And he's been a joy to be around, and all now is actually he's putting in the hard work to get there. So I hope he can do something for us. And I hope, especially if Semenyo's going to be out for a few games, then he comes and bangs in a few goals and really upsets the apple cart a bit and really makes Pearson make a decision. That'd be really good.
Yeah. No, I think on that, I was fortunate enough to have a meeting with someone pretty senior at the club a few weeks ago, and they said that he's been an absolute shining example. And actually, he's been exactly the sort of character they want around the dressing room for youngsters, because he's shown that even despite his career and what he's done over the last 10 to 12 years, and despite what salary he's earning, whatever that may be, he's been positive. He's never sulked. He's never had an issue. He's understood why he's been left out. He might not have liked it, but he's understood. And that they said actually he's been absolutely brilliant around the club and around the dressing room, which again is very contrasting with a lot of what's maybe been suggested at times, by fans. So, but he's obviously a very expensive player to have sitting on the bench and acting as a good egg in the dressing room. So, an interesting challenge for him. Two other players of note. Thomas Callas looks like he's still out in the short term. Obviously, didn't play for Czech Republic in the international break. But Alex Scott back training and back in contention. Do you expect him to come straight back in on Saturday, or do you think we'll stick with a team other than Masengo for Wales that we played last time against West Brom?
I think Pearson really likes Scott big time, so I do think he's one of them. He'll fit in if he can. Now, how he does that, I don't know, and that's why he's paid the big bucks. And I probably would like to see him on the pitch as well, because I do think he is that talisman for us at the minute.
So who'd you bring him in for, Luke? Who'd you bring him in for?
That's a toughie, isn't it, really? I mean, so who have we got in our three in the middle?
Masengo and James played, didn't they?
Masengo and James. Yeah, so it's probably going to be Masengo, James in, Scott, I'd have thought, and then a back four, possibly. Stats saying that, I'd have probably Jade Silva on the left, and then Corey Pring on the right, and then have Atkinson and Cundy in the middle, maybe. It's a tough one. That's why I'm not playing the big bucks, but at the same time...
Do you push Vyman up front and leave Wells out? And put Scott in that hole in behind the strikers, maybe? In a game where we are going to be likely second best for most of the game.
I mean, there you go. If he comes down for Pearson to decide between Wells and Scott, I'm thinking he's going Scott sort of direction. And that's again, this is exactly what we're saying. It's tough on Wells because he was great when he came in the other day. I don't know. I think he'll want to get as many people in the middle of the park and get it secure rather than having outlets up front that possibly are going to be pinned back anyway. If you see what I'm saying. So what I want to say is I really don't want to see. I know Vyman's done the job and he's one of them who's just effort player, so he's fantastic at it. But we were on about this the other week on the podcast. Is Scott potentially being put onto the right wing back? Now he'll do the job and he won't moan and he'll probably be really good at it. But he's one of our better players, so I want him in his position that he's going to be best influence in the match in. And I don't think at right wing back he can fully do that. Now, if you're a good player, you can make things happen all over the park. But
of course,
I think in the middle if he's going to do that.
I think the danger of having him there is the formation of Bournemouth tends to play a 4-3-3, I think, now with the way they're playing. Where does that wing back go? Especially if he's inexperienced. Does he go against the wide forward? Does he go against the midfielder? I think, whether it's Billing or whoever plays on that side, it's a tricky one to work out for a young lad. But then, I think everywhere he's played, you're right. Everywhere he's played, he's looked mature, he's looked composed. He'd probably work it out. But it's tricky, difficult challenge, I think, for sure, how to set up against a team like this when they've got so much talent, as we talked about earlier.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so it's going to be one of them. It's just going to be grit your teeth. Down and we've got to take our chance on Saturday. That's going to be one of the biggest ones. We won't get many, but if we take them, then we need a bit of an Andy Vyman Sheffield United performance. 3 chances, 3 goals.
Oh, that'd be nice. That would be nice. Are you going down?
No, couldn't get a ticket. Get a ticket. So I won't be. My dad's going down, so I'll be listening into that. Yeah.
No, I can't make it, unfortunately, either. My at the age of my children, I've got kids' parties all over the place on Saturday afternoon, so I'm on lift duties, taking them all over. Bad timing. I'm going to ask their friends to have parties different times next year, but no, unfortunately, so I think I'm lined up for most of the rest of the games this season, but missing Saturday, unfortunately. So on Pearson, how big are 7 or 8 games is for him?
It's massive. I don't think you could say it's not massive. Because I think if we went down that route, which I don't think the club is doing anyway, but then you almost be sort of allowing him just to coast, which I don't think he would anyway. But it is massive because I think the most important thing, he needs to get the fans really on his side, ready, and get a good transfer window ready to bust into that new season. Because at the minute, I think there's a little bit of doubt creeping in. I think for a long time, a lot of people have been sort of, no, we've got to give him the chance. Let's let him have the budget Johnson had and do all that sort of thing. What we haven't seen, unfortunately, is someone who's been always regarded as a good defensive coach really embed that into our team. We've been as frail as I've known us for.
Just lost your sound there, Luke. I don't know if that's going through on a broadcast or not. If it's mine or yours.
Is that better?
That's better. There we are.
Yeah, there we are. Yeah. Yeah, so sorry, he's going to have to make sure that sort of the defensive side of the coaching really comes into fruition, because obviously we've been, like I said, as frail as I remember us for a long time.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think that's what fans probably want to see. We've got some attacking promise. When we want to go at teams, we can score goals. There's no doubt about that. We're scoring 2 goals fairly regularly, actually. I think there's been precious little sign of any sort of defensive improvement, and that is key, obviously. Whether you can do that without your key defender in Callas, maybe not. But I think some indication at least. It doesn't have to be perfect by any means. We're not expecting 6 clean sheets, but keeping a couple of clean sheets, stopping these last minute goals going in, stopping these set pieces maybe would just be a little indicator that maybe they worked on something in a break. Maybe they've starting to learn as a group that what we need to do. And I think it'd be nice to have that indication that things have a chance of being turned around next season.
I'm going to be so interested when it comes to the end of the season and we have the stat come out about what our potential league position would have been if every match had finished at the 85th minute, because I've just never known anything like it.
No, we've had a couple go away, haven't we? We've got QPR and Blackburn. We had a couple go our way as well in last minute winners. But I think there's a lot of points stacked up against us, isn't there?
We've lost a lot of points in that department, and it's sickening, to be fair. You're always going to lose some in the season, but the amount we've lost has been ridiculous.
Yeah, that needs to be resolved one way or another. I'm not quite sure how you do it, but one way or another, that's certainly got to be resolved. One other piece of news I just thought was, I guess, a curious thing this week, where we launched our new 6-year deal with Hummel, and the poster boy for it was Noah Masengo, who's obviously probably the most talked about in terms of a potential transfer out this summer. I can't believe, having worked in marketing departments, that they haven't just gone to Masengo and gone, oh, he'd be good, let's do him, without having some sort of discussion with someone senior at a club to say, is this appropriate? Is he the right, is he the right person to launch a 6-year deal when he might not be here in 6 weeks' time? That sort of conversation. So either there's something in the background, which I think is probably unlikely, that he's close to signing, or is it maybe just a sign from City to say to him, look, we want to build this around you. We want you here long term. Maybe a little, almost a mini incentive him to sort of think, actually, this could be my home here.
Yeah, I know what you mean. So I think it's a couple of different things. I think from a marketing side, if you're looking at it and you want our younger fan base, the ones who are going to be bringing on the future of the fan base coming up through, he is our icon realistically at the minute. A player from abroad who's really good. He's got that young style, and he's a brilliant player.
He's got the hair, which stands out as a brand in itself.
He's got the hair. He's got the fashion. You've seen his Instagram account come out this week, and he's into all the photography and all that sort of stuff. So on that side of it, he is absolutely the one you want.
Yeah.
On the other side of the coin, from Bristol City's point of view, I think it's one of two things. It's either they've got a bit of a underlying knowledge that something's going to be going well for us in the sense of he's going to be signing a contract, and we're all good on that front, or it's a bit of naivety. It's a bit of, let's show him and make sure he sees that he's in the limelight for us and he's our poster boy.
Yeah.
Realistically, if the kid's switched on enough and he doesn't want to be here anymore, that's not really going to keep him here. Being a poster boy for us. I'm hoping it's the first of the two. We've got a contract about to be signed, and as soon as May comes, they're going to announce it and say, no, we've got another 3 years of him in a brand new Hummel kit. But I don't know. I'm a little bit fearful of that one, if I'm perfectly honest, because I think he'll get us a good transfer rate, and he is one of our better players. So I'm not hoping for the best there. I think it's going to go bad.
No, interesting for sure. I think when he announced a new 6-year deal and put a picture of Masengo up, I think there's a few jumped to a very quick conclusion, but not to be, unfortunately, on that front.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you very much, Luke. That's all for this week. Good luck and safe travels to everyone travelling down to Bournemouth. Have a great day. Hopefully we can come away with something. Until next week, this has been the Dolman Way podcast.
Cheers, guys.